Hey everyone, let's talk about how to install PHP and MySQL in your system. So if you want to start coding with PHP, XAMPP is a great tool for you. Click download XAMPP, so Google it first. XAMPP is a great tool that contains PHP server, which is Apache, and also MySQL database, which is very commonly used when you develop a web application. So you don't want your web page to be just a static page, so you want a database that contains the information like the users or even the page contents and so on. So the easiest way to install XAMPP is of course to download the installer and install it from there. So here, for example, you have multiple versions of PHP. PHP 8.2 is the latest, so you can click on download here. Okay, so we see that it's actually downloading. While waiting for that, that one is actually straightforward. I'll show you an alternative way. Here there's a more download section. Click on that. I'll show you how to install XAMPP just by extracting the folder. So go ahead to your operating system. I'm on Windows here. So click on that. You can also see the latest one here, 8.2. You can see here there's a portable one in 7-zip format. Click on that. Okay, I'm sure most of you is on x64 system nowadays, but if you don't, please click the x32 for the 32 bits version. We are downloading the 7-zip file. So if you don't have 7-zip, then you need to install 7-zip first, which is an open source zip extractor. Okay, now 7-zip is installed. I'm going to extract it later on after I finish downloading. Okay, now that it has finished downloading, let's extract this file. This is the 7-zip file that you got from there. So you're gonna extract it here. Extract like normal. Okay, so this is the result. So the main file here is the XAMPP control, right? But you might want to take a look at other things like htdocs, which is the place where you want to put your PHP files, and then the MySQL, which is the data directory that will be created automatically when you create a database and tables. So there are a couple of ways we can set it up properly. So here, if you directly start the XAMPP control panel, which is the main file that we'll be using most of the times, there will be errors, right? Because we need to set up the directory in which the XAMPP is located. So the setup XAMPP.bat here provides just that. It will configure the XAMPP according to the correct directory that we are currently in. Okay, now let's start the XAMPP. Close this one, and then XAMPP control, and then just YOLO and press the start button and see if it is running. Okay, if you have Windows Firewall, you might be prompted with this one. That is totally okay, right? Just assume that we are on the public network, which is more secure. If you're on the private network, if you tick this one, you assume that your network is private network in which it allows certain access to your computer. Okay, just click allow access. And then also MySQL, let's see. You'll be prompted with the same Windows Firewall prompt, allow access. Okay, everything seems to work properly. And one thing to test out first is localhost. Okay, if you go to localhost, right, you will be brought to the XAMPP page, the opening page. Okay, in case you want to do some experiments and you don't want the default port 80, you can do some configuration right here, but stop the Apache server first and then you take a look at this config, so which is the first file that is in here. You can change it to port 81. So sometimes this is also for security reasons, because port 80 is the standard port for HTTP server. So if you change it to 81, you cannot access it this way, but rather you have to specify the port, which is 81. Right, okay, let's stick with this one. And then you might want to check as well if your MySQL is running well. You can go to PHP myadmin. Okay, so these are our databases. You can to create database, create tables here, just to test one if it's running properly. Okay, so it's running properly, so we are good with that. Now, next thing that we want to do is to test out the Apache server. So we want to put a dummy PHP file inside the htdoc and want to see how it works. One thing, if you want to directly put it in the root of the web server, you can replace the index.php here. It looks something like this. So you can put hello world page here as your default page. Okay, so now whenever you go to localhost, your very first page, localhost 81, instead of XAMPP landing page, you'll have this one. So another thing to check as well, if you have a folder, let's say hello, and you can create another PHP file here called index.php. Okay, you can also do it like hi, and then come back and check that folder. You don't need to restart the server. Now you have this page. Okay, catch you in the next one. I will make the MySQL and PHP tutorial pages soon. Thank you.